Breaking news. Bebop is actually coming right now.
What? Oh my god. Oh my god, no way. Yo.
Yeah, way, as of course that is a fake AI video, as there's so much disinformation, propaganda, and nonsense out there, specifically when it comes to the larger conversations about aliens. As some people are saying, what aliens? They're interdimensional beings that share this earth with us. Other forms of life, not from outside, but from within, underneath the oceans and the earth. What's going on here? Some people have more of a religious type of understanding of it. As Tucker Carlson just recently decided to open up about this once again. I previously talked to him about this on stage at the TPUSA event a couple years ago. And the conversation got interesting, as of course, there's a lot of biblical prophecies and conversations about fallen angels and demons that I think are relevant to what's currently happening right now. As of course, the previous video that we did about this highlighted a lot of the kind of weird scenarios and situations where almost every time there's a nuclear weapon test, we have aliens, according to many U.S. government officials, coming in, interfering, and stopping it. As J.D. Vance now is talking about how he is personally, quote, a UFO lunatic. And there's a lot of people that would lose their minds when it comes to the kind of revelations, information coming to light here, as there's a lot to talk about, particularly surrounding this topic, as now a town in Israel has become a UFO hot spot. What does that mean? As of course, all eyes are on the coast, where we are seeing a lot of these football-sized field type of craft moving 200 miles an hour underneath the ocean. Huh? Yeah, that's what many prominent people are coming out and telling us is real. If you appreciate these type of conversations, subscribe, click the notification button. We greatly appreciate all the time that you, of course, spend with us. Now, Tucker Carlson's latest comments here were very big, very important. There's 6 minutes of it, but what he's talking about here literally leaves us kind of dumbfounded here. But I think he, more than anyone else, has come the closest towards understanding this personally myself, because I've been looking into this, researching this, and studying this, and I would say I don't have any kind of, and this is where people bullcrap you. They're like, 100% confirmed. We know exactly what's going on here. This is it. This is that. And this is this thing or that thing. People are so full of crap. It's so tiring. We don't know what the exact truth is, and there's multiple layers of different kind of possibilities be explained of what's really going on here. I think the most credible one is what Tucker Carlson is talking about, even though I don't have direct proof proving of it. But out of all these scenarios, I think his is the most type of honest, most realistic take on it. Here is his take.
Really real, and we are the subjects of it.
And that will lead us to UFOs. All right. Now, I know you're into this topic, and I know you know people who know a lot about this topic.
Tucker does have a lot of sources. That's the most important bit. That's what she's kind of hinting at here. She's like, yeah, you talk to a lot of powerful people. I mean, Tucker's son is literally working for J.D. Vance, the same guy who came out and said, yeah, I'm vowing to understand all of the government secrets here. Interesting correlation.
And who may not be able to provide everything they know in a public setting. So
now a lot of these politicians are kind of sat down and they're kind of given these briefings. We know J.D. Vance was given one. Rubio was given one. Tulsi Gabbard was given one. Anna Luna was given a limited one. And they're like, yeah, you say this to anyone? Tim Burchett was given one. You say this to anyone? Henry Reid, former congressman who no longer is with us, also was given one. Nancy Pelosi was given one. Nancy Pelosi was too drunk to even understand what was going on. She's very loopy. Thank goodness she's out. But they're told, you tell anybody. Right? You tell anybody, your career's done. Jail. Punished. Immediate. You're told in a skiff. Shut up. This is what it is. Do not tell anyone. And a lot of these people use Tucker as a proxy in order to have these conversations, right? Right? I think that's important to understand here.
What do we know?
Well, I mean, we know beyond question that there are objects and phenomena, aerial and undersea, that can't be explained by science and that seem to defy the laws, will measurably defy the laws of physics, and that are not experimental aircraft created by DARPA or the DoD or by the Russians or the Chinese. Like, we know that. There have been many testimonies to this effect under oath in the Congress in the last 2 years. So like that.
And it's been going on for a long time. Like these football-sized field type of craft have been described by William Cooper all the way back in the 1990s, Naval Intelligence, the guy that they took out right before he predicted 9/11, by the way. Right after he did that. Apologies for my inconsistencies. But before that, there was even multiple reports of things like that.
That's not even a question. Are they real? Yeah, well, obviously they're real. What are they is the question.
Now, some people say, no, it's advanced tech because the Germans were working on it, quote, saucers and allegedly anti-gravity tech. And then we took them, a part of Operation Paperclip, and then we kind of embedded them within NASA and within the U.S. military-industrial complex. And they were working for us, and they used some of this tech in order to build some of this type of football-sized field type of craft that travel 200 miles an hour underwater. Huh? I don't buy that. That's just me. I just don't buy that. But the phenomenon of aliens has come ever since the use of nuclear weapons, which some people argue because of the use of nuclear weapons, these other worldly creatures that live underground are other type of beings in different energetic forms that we cannot perceive and in different realities and dimensions that we don't have access to. Those aliens are like, dude, you're blowing us up. Stop it. Right? And then I would say there's a correlation between the development of the nuke and the use of the nuke. And now multiple people saying every time there's nukes, aliens come and stop them. Listen, that's what a lot of people have put their whole entire reputation and careers on and said is happening here.
And I've been down the rabbit hole on this, and just because of my job, the one upside to having a gig like this, as you well know, is if you're curious about something, you actually have access to people who know or say they know. And you just call them up and be like, hey, come to my house, tell me what you know. I'm working on a story about it. I've never done really a story on this because I came to a hard and fast conclusion on it, which I can't prove.
And this is what Tucker told me too. He's like, yeah, I can't find anything else out further from here. I'm just going to stop. I got to let it go.
But I sincerely believe it, which is that these are spiritual phenomena, obviously. They've been here forever. There's a lot of evidence of that in the written record going back thousands of years. They're angels and demons, of course. And that would be obvious and was obvious to everyone else. What's so interesting, one of the reasons that this topic will drive you crazy and why I opted out and do no research and talk to no one about it,
He's got freaked out, especially after he was attacked by a demon. That, he says, literally scratched him up in the middle of the night. Real story. I saw demonic possession before. It's real. Like, it was also a very prominent, famous personality. Saw it right in front of my eyes. This wasn't fake. This wasn't pretend. This wasn't acting. This was legit. Now, after the demon, is it the demon attack? Or is it something else? Or as Tucker described it, he's like, there's nothing else I could do. There's nothing else I could find out. I'm just going to drop it.
I'm out. I know what I think. I don't want to know anymore.
Do you think that's true? I don't want to know anymore. I want to know everything. Tucker always has a sensational need for knowledge and understanding and a thirst for it that is far more powerful than a lot of people understand it. And therefore, there comes this kind of greatness because he's willing to uncover stuff and actually talk about it honestly. I want to leave you with the question here. Do you think he's being honest here? Saying, I don't want it anymore. Or is there something he found out that spooked him out that he's too afraid to talk about? What do you think is really going on here? Now, before playing more of that clip and more about the cow mutilation stuff, which is very interesting, just really quickly, we just wanted to tell you about wearechange.shop. We got a lot of great, amazing supplements and teas available to you. If you go down here to the specialty items, we have organic green ginger tea, and we have white peach tea. The white peach tea tastes gosh darn golly good. Lemon ginger green tea, the healthiest one out of all of them. As of course now, there's a lot of people saying, hey, when you put green tea on your skin and then use red light, or quote, going into the sun, it's one of the most, quote, powerful anti-aging skin hacks. In just a few months, quote, it was able to rejuvenate the skin and reduce wrinkles in, quote, these patients, according to this study that was being done by Andrea P. Sommer and Dan Zhu. Very interesting type of conclusions here, as of course a lot of people point to green tea being the elixir of health. And again, do your own homework and research before putting anything into your own body. I find it interesting how a lot of people purport, and some studies preliminary do highlight how it does help with toxins. It does help with people who are exposed to pesticides, mold, heavy metals, smoke, PCBs, arsenic, and others. So again, do your own homework, but the tea is really good. It's loose leaf. There's no microplastics. That's why we made Happy Testicles as our mascot, a part of this tea. And really great packets, really great flavor, really great tea. Cannot recommend it enough. A lot of people drink coffee and then just get the jitters and the anxiety. Try some tea and see how you feel. Again, this is the way to support us. wearechange.shop is where to go. Now, let's continue this conversation because I find it fascinating and more important than ever to discuss now, especially with what's happening with 3i Atlas, and also what's happening with drone incursions in Europe that are shutting down airports and airspace. We recently saw that in Belgium. We saw that in Denmark. We saw that in Estonia. We saw that in Germany. We have seen that in France and in the United Kingdom. Not a coincidence that it's happening now, by the way.
Is because there is such, and this is a matter of record,
especially around nuclear facilities and where there are purported nuclear weapons being allegedly moved around too.
A concerted, decades-long disinformation campaign by the U.S. government to obscure what's happening. And if you look at that, and I grew up the son of a federal employee in a...
Now listen, the government has been absolutely disingenuous. We pay the government, and they're sending out fake information. There's whistleblowers that they start to harass and intimidate and try to threaten. Evil son of a guns, what are you doing? What the hell's wrong with you? What in the world are you doing? It's our money. What did you find out? What's going on? According to the conversations I had with Tucker, there's an alliance between some of these entities and the U.S. government. And that's what we can't tell anybody, right?
In a world where there was a lot of this stuff, so I do know a lot about this. And one of the ways to discredit the truth is by flooding the zone with lies. So rather than just denying UFOs are not real, well, you can't deny that anymore. They are real. What you do is you create a bunch of fake stories leading people in the wrong direction. You flood the zone. There's so many conspiracy theories that no one believes anything.
Yep, Cass Sunstein, Obama's information, so I literally wrote the blueprint for propaganda and disinformation. And he said, yeah, there's these like 9/11 truthers that are working with family members and rescue workers, trying to get justice for them, trying to get health care for them after they were lied to and screwed over. They want to get answers from Kissinger about his Saudi Arabia connections. Yep. Let's just release the craziest of craziest people that Jewish space lasers took down the towers, right? And I'm like, oh, goodness gracious. Like, stop it. And it was so infuriating because, in my opinion, a lot of these people were feds. They were very shady. They were very weird. And they were like, yeah, it was aliens. Absolutely aliens. Oh, no, it was one entire race of people that did it. It was all in on it. I'm like, stop coming out with conclusions. Push for questions to be answered and transparency and accountability. I was like, that's all we have to do. We don't have to explain to people what we think happened here, right? We could come out and say, we think this happened. But when people came out and they were like, yes, it was new age type of, and I'm like, and they played a major role in delegitimizing a lot of these family members, rescue workers, survivors of 9/11 that had legitimate questions and answers. And everyone was like, oh, you're a kooky conspiracy theorist. And it's like, no, we're not even theorizing here. We're telling you there's inconsistencies and we want transparency and accountability and answers from the government. Do you believe space lasers took them down? It was holograms, right? I'm like, and that's how you destroy a movement from within.
But the way to know what the truth is by figuring out what they're trying to prevent you from believing. And if you look at the U.S. government propaganda, DOD propaganda, on the question of UFOs, UAPs, the one thread that connects all of it is that these are not supernatural. These are little green men from Mars. They're weather phenomenon. They're experimental aircraft. The one thing that they don't want you to believe is that they are spiritual entities.
Why would that be so threatening to them?
Well, that's a great...
Because then it would open up people to religion, right? And then people were like, yeah, I got to read the Bible or the Torah or the Quran. It's like, yeah, angel demons, they're real. The Bible was actually right about them. Fallen angels, they were right about them. And you see Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, who's been at the helm of getting a lot of the information, getting some of the classified briefings, coming out and be like, you read the Book of Enoch? And she's like kind of hinting, like, you read the Bible? You see what happens in there? You see them talking about demons and angels? And obviously, let's just say, hypothetically, because again, we don't know exactly what's going on here, right? Let's just say hypothetically. It's not advanced military tech. It's not aliens from the inside. It's interdimensional angel demons, creatures, spiritual entities, different realms of existence, sharing the world with us, that are here with us. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to go pick up the Bible. I'm going to become more religious. If people do become more religious, they're less likely to be liberal. They're less likely to go along with the subjugation of the human spirit. And this is where it kind of boils down to the fight between the demons and the angels, the good and the bad, the evil and the loving, the hate and the good. And that's what we're dealing with now more than ever.
Great question. That is the question. And there's an awful lot of thinking on this matter, and I don't know the answer. And I have theories on it. I don't have a firm belief on it. There's certainly an awful lot of highly informed speculation that there are very dark reasons that they don't want because they're participating in it. And there have been technology transfers that are, consistent with what we know about spiritual forces, which is always a deal.
Yeah. And listen, the devil makes a deal. He's like, yeah, we'll give you. And this is what you hear in Hollywood. This is what I personally heard in Hollywood and I saw. There's a reason why so many people always sing about the devil in music. I sold my soul to the devil. That is a conversation. That is a song and lyric that you keep hearing again and again and again and again. And there are multiple deals where a lot of people are like, yes, make me famous, make me prominent. And they're like, okay. And the devil's like, we're going to take something from you. Usually a loved one. And they're like, yes, do it. And then they lose something, but they become super famous.
Bow down before me and all of this will be yours. I mean, it's kind of the core story in the...
And what if the government's doing that, right? What if the government... What if that's how they got nuclear power? What if they're getting more advanced tech that science can't explain?
The New Testament, and it's the template for our own lives. In fact, we face this all the time in our own lives. You don't need to be interested in UFOs to recognize that so many times you reach a juncture in your life, in my life, where it's like, I could do this and I would get a lot out of it. I'd become more powerful, get to have sex with someone I want to have sex with, become richer, if only I violate what I believe, if only I bow down and worship you. And there's
the devil.
There's a lot of informed speculation that the U.S. government has participated in this, and the defense technology, in particular nuclear technology, is the product of that.
Hey, you want these advanced weapons? You gotta sacrifice this many people for it. You're gonna do it? It would explain why there's always a war. It would explain why there's always ritualistic human sacrifice throughout recorded human history and civilizations. Look at the Native Americans, right? Look at the pyramids that were built, where people's hearts were literally stabbed out in order to appease the sun gods, the weather gods. I think that is also happening, in my own opinion, through war, through the sacrifice of young people, through things and stuff that Jeffrey Epstein was working on. As of course, Jeffrey Epstein wasn't just working on hurting and exploiting and sacrificing small children, but he was also working on anti-gravity technology. Is that a coincidence? Is there something more? Is there something bigger there? In my own personal opinion, without having any proof or evidence, yes. There's a reason. It's my theory. Yes.
And I don't know if that's true. I will.
And that's good. That could be the reason why we never get the Epstein list. Like, oh yeah, Epstein was, the middleman between the interdimensional demons, anti-gravity nuclear warhead type of tech, and he was sacrificing children for them so we could get all this tech. Now again, theory. I don't have proof, I don't have evidence, but I think it's, honestly, I think it's probable. Do you think it's probable? Press 1 if yes. Press 2 if no, down in the chat room.
I'll say one extremely interesting thing that no one seems to know is that it's not exactly clear where nuclear technology came from.
But who would we be cutting a deal with in this scenario?
The demons, the interdimensional beings, the creatures that share the earth with us.
So that's why I don't speculate about it, because I don't know the answer. Obviously, what we're seeing, these phenomena are spiritual phenomena. And one of the reasons that I came to that conclusion was because of an incredibly kooky story that's not kooky at all. It's 100% real, which is cattle mutilations. And cattle mutilations are a consistent feature of life in the West, not just in the United States, but going back hundreds of years in Europe. Farmers would find their cattle, their sheep, slain and dismembered in a way that no butcher could replicate and drained of all of their blood. And clearly this is a ritual sacrifice of an animal, which is described in not just the Old Testament, but many sacred texts and many religions. And it was the basis, of course, of all of the ancient human sacrifice cults, which were like in every country, not just in Latin America, but my ancestors, the Norse sacrifice people. So
yeah, the biggest civilizations had forms of human sacrifice.
Sacrificing people or animals to please the gods is the one consistent feature of all religion going back to the beginning of recorded history. And why is that? Because there's something there. Why would people on continents separated by oceans they could not traverse reach the same conclusion about the nature of the spiritual realm, the exact same conclusion, if they weren't responding to something that was actually real? Well, of course they were. And so there is something about Christianity is fundamentally the story of the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross, tortured to death to atone for human sin. And of course, biblical Judaism is the story of sacrifice to do the same. So anyway, whatever. Cattle mutilations are ritual sacrifice. Clearly. And what is that? Who's doing it? I did a documentary on it, and my whole staff was like, now you're freaking crazy. Cattle mutilation. Well, it turned out the FBI investigated it twice because.
And they probably didn't find the answer. If they did, they covered it up, just like they're covering up what looks like right now the pipe bomber.
The value of the livestock killed was so high that ranchers in Idaho complained to the FBI. We did an investigation. Senators got involved. There's a lot written on this. And it's like, well, what is that? Well, the one thing the U.S. government was absolutely intent on you not thinking was that this was some kind of ritual sacrifice. Fascinating. So I don't know.
Are you in a place now where you feel free to do whatever the hell you want?
Does it seem like I do?
Yes, it does seem like it.
I just went on about cattle mutilations without any embarrassment. I told you I got attacked by a demon.
Yep, and got clawed and hurt by it in the middle of the night. Interesting. What do you think? What do you think about my theory? Epstein, anti-gravity tech. Do you think it's legit? Or do you think it's not? I want to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you so much for supporting WeAreChange.shop, getting our tees. Tees are great. Can't recommend them enough. But check them out. I bet you will love them once you start buying them. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys buying them, supporting this independent media broadcast. And this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/WeAreChange.